Hi everyone. Again today another episode of Dear Chad, trying to help everyone be a little bit more agile. So today's question comes from me about how do we handle our planning process. Usually when you get about 150 people in a room, you need to try to figure out how are you going to get them to work together. And in this episode or this video, I hope to talk about how we actually make that work. So let's talk about the section that usually is the release planning. So this release planning is this yellow bar here. For us, it happens every 8 weeks. We do 4 2-week sprints, and then we get back together for what would be called another release planning session. So this release planning session usually is a 2-day event. Kind of looks something like this. So usually the first half of the meeting is kind of somebody talking about all the things that they would like to have completed. Usually you get one of your executives to stand up and talk about kind of where the business is going. Then you make sure you have your architecture in there talking about any major changes that may be happening in the architecture. One other thing that we included somewhere here was kind of just an update about any agile. So maybe there's a process that somebody could learn. Maybe there's a new book that we want to talk about. Maybe there's an upcoming training. So usually we try to allow 15 minutes to give everyone kind of the state of how the process is happening. And then the rest of the afternoon, teams basically go off and start doing all of their planning. Lots of breakout sessions, lots of whiteboards, lots of sticky notes happening then. Also, another thing that usually happens at about 4 o'clock is what's referred to as the Osm Meeting. This is usually the oh shit meeting. What happens there is somebody's not getting one of their features done, and usually you need to get out into a breakout room and figure out how are we going to get that stuff done. So usually after a few PSIs, these things hopefully will go away as you do a little pre-planning in order for the first day meeting. Second day meeting, teams usually come in and talk about what they're going to get completed in the next 8 weeks. If there's any changes, you can usually get those somewhere in the middle. And then if you need to, because there's some changes, your teams could then do some more breakouts. But 9 times out of 10, my experience is usually you're done somewhere around here. You get the team to all agree on what you're going to have completed in the next 8 weeks. And then again, this second half of the meeting, usually teams start doing their sprint planning. So again, this session that I talked about is usually this release planning session. It's usually kind of a 3-day event. I didn't talk about the first day. So first day is kind of talks about features being completed. That happens for about the first half of the day. The second day is kind of all about the planning and then the team breakout. And then the third day is kind of all about or actually what's going to happen. So this is usually the 3-day events, and then usually sprint planning happens here. So this is usually, for us it's on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and it's about 2.5 day event. Alright, hope this helps.